Is that recording?
No. Dang. Okay.
Is that one?
Yeah, that's recording.
Okay, cool.
Now we're in business.
Cool.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Terranaut Recordings. Dude, why am I yelling, dude?
You don't have to
Oh,
yell.
dude.
Dude, the mic is so close. You don't have to yell.
What's going on, everyone? This is Terranaut Recordings. We're a music production duo based in Brooklyn, New York. I am Nick.
I'm Sean.
Basically, our goal is to help you go from a demo to a stream-ready song, taking you on every step of the process and helping you out in any way. So, for example, if you produce your own music, we can mix and master for you. Or if you want some cool collage album art, Sean does a lot of cool collages and stuff like that. So if you want to see more, check out our website. We got some portfolio stuff. Send us a message, leave a comment. Links all in the description. Do whatever you want. So today we're going to be talking about getting over writer's block. So I want to open this up by asking you, Sean, about, I guess, what you do. Okay, that sounds really cryptic to an outsider, but every time I come home or like walk into your room, you're working on like a new song on like Ableton or Logic or recording something. What are you doing all that time?
A lot of it, I don't know what I'm doing. I would say 90% of the time, I don't know what I'm doing.
What goes on in Sean's mind that says, let's go on Ableton and make another thing? First of all, how many Ableton projects do you have? I guess, yeah, just in general.
I recently got Ableton because I was using the Ableton 11 Live Suite trial.
Use your trials.
Yeah.
Everyone. Use your trial forever.
Ableton is a great one. It has a 90-day free trial. And so I used that 3 times.
And then, yeah, just new emails.
Yeah.
And then that's almost a year.
Yeah, I got 9 months out of using Ableton for free.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, don't tell Ableton that, though.
Don't tell Ableton.
Yeah, I don't want them to like shadow ban me. But yeah, so recently getting live standard has been really nice because I can actually like save stuff now.
So how many projects do you have?
Like 5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
Not that many, yeah.
Oh, so you're mostly just working on projects that you started already.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
It's not really like starting from
But
scratch.
so that's 5 or 6 in, like from like a month or two ago, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whenever you're approaching something, where do you start?
So I've been writing a lot on guitar actually recently, and I'm by no means a guitar player, but I like the fact that since I'm limited in the instrument, it kind of like forces me to get out ideas.
There's something weird about that. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
and also like you're kind of like forced to be honest about it. You can't like play all the things you practice.
Totally. Yeah.
Like whenever I pick up a bass, I like come up with like a compelling melody, and I'm just like, dang, why can't I do this on guitar?
Dude, yeah.
Or like piano, and then but I can't do anything else.
But yeah, it's like working within those limitations, like really like kind of it sort of like forces you to like focus on stuff that I guess not that matters, but like stuff that you are hearing, you know, and it's not just like that you can't because you're bound by the limitations of the instrument, you know.
Right, yeah. So we talked about this in our first episode on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like that also helps with writer's block as well. How often do you have writer's block?
Man, I would say like pretty often. I go like it's like a monthly thing for me.
Yeah, like an ebb and flow.
Yeah, it's just like I'll have this period where I'm thinking of a lot of stuff, and I write very much in like fragments. So like I'll write, or like I'll not even write, like I'll just like come up with something and like record it on my phone, and then like weeks later I'll play something again. I'm like, oh, that kind of like fits in with that. I mean, lately it's been very fragmented, very like sporadic, and I'm trying to have a more disciplined approach to it now, where it's like, okay, like I'm gonna sit down and like try to come up with something.
Right, yeah.
But then whenever I do that, that's when it seems to seep in.
Right, yeah, it's like sort of when you're forcing it.
Right.
But like, yeah, you kind of have to sometimes force it.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, because then it's never gonna get done.
Right.
You know.
And then, wait, on the topic of voice notes and phones, I have to show you this real quick because I just heard this gnarly thing on the subway yesterday. Check this out. So this was, you know that turnstile that like the kind of rotating door turnstile?
Oh yeah, like it looks like a meat grinder.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's the sound that made. It sounded like a meat grinder. It was at the Culp. It was at a regular L stop.
Whoa. Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it actually sounded like a meat grinder. It was killer.
That's insane.
It has nothing to do with what we're talking
about.
No,
actually that does. So that actually does have something to do with it. So whenever I'm sort of feeling stuck when writing, I kind of, especially living in New York City, there's a lot of sounds happening everywhere. So if I'm sort of stuck in like trying to come up with an idea, I'll like record stuff that I find interesting.
Right.
Like on the subway, there's a lot of interesting sounds on the train. They're like out like in the city, and then sort of just like put that into Ableton and see what I can do. And then just like manipulate it and try to access new sounds that way.
Sick.
So yeah, I think that's very related.
What was the last point you said before I got off topic? Oh yeah, about forcing.
Oh yeah. And I guess like forcing is the wrong word, but it's just like any sort of approach to like any sort of like creative practice, you know. It's just like
Yeah. I think also like in order to sort of like force yourself or like kind of like write on command, I think it also takes a certain amount of like discipline, habits, and like also just detachment.
Mhm.
Because I think what happens when we try to write on command and it sounds really bad, like that sentence in itself is revealing of kind of the problem is that we're calling it bad. We're judging the thing.
Right.
We're judging a thing
Exactly.
by its cover.
Right.
You know that, yeah. But by already dismissing it as bad, we already like are kind of shutting down the idea and just preventing the growth. You know.
Right. It's like you have to give yourself time to like it.
Yeah. I mean, because I don't know, I tend to just kind of write on like spur of the moment kind of things, and that to me ends up usually be my favorite. But there's something to be said about like developing a thing and just like kind of letting your ideas flow, even in from the form of an exercise. But I think also like setting habits and getting discipline, but an organization too. But organization in the sense that like things are ready to go. Like I always have my interface here. I always have a mic like that's sitting right here.
It's a great point.
So
yeah.
whenever I have an idea, just go for it.
Right,
you know?
because like by the time like if you have to like set up everything all the time, and
Right.
it's like you're like moving shit around, and,
And then by the time that everything's set up, you're like you already lost the idea.
Right.
The idea's gone. you know?
Exactly, yeah.
Every moment's fleeting.
Yeah. Every yeah, no, it's true, and like that it gets lost easily. I think David Lynch talks about that sometimes. It's
I wouldn't doubt that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds like something he would talk about.
yeah, like he has to get his thoughts down when he thinks of them, because if not, then they just
Then they just go away.
But like ideas for him are like these like things that from interviews I've seen, it's like he takes like a really like natural approach to it, where it's like they come like the ideas come to him, like he doesn't like
Right.
sit down and think of it. It's like it just comes to him.
Yeah, it just kind of appears.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a very David Lynch thing.
Yeah.
But I think also like then like the discipline part, I think that comes from like capturing these ideas when you get them, right? But then like having designated times, or not, I guess not designated times, like having the space and the freedom and the ability to capture these moments as they're passing. But then outside of that, when you're sitting down to write, I think developing those ideas.
Yeah.
Rather than coming up with new ideas, it's just seeing where things go. And I think that helps because like you lose the whole like this is bad kind of thing to start being less subjective, a little more objective, and like allowing yourself to put all the ideas down on paper.
Exactly. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that
Without
helps.
just like dismissing them.
And so I assume
Immediately.
that's also what you do, because if you've been working on like 5 or 6 songs for this whole like month or two, and I see you working on something every time, I assume that's what you're doing naturally.
Yeah. And I'm trying, and it for me, like it definitely didn't come naturally. Like I had to like really put a conscious effort into like, okay, don't dismiss this right away, because I used to do that all the time.
Right.
And actually, after studying with Billy Drews, he was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh yeah, like record everything, like record all your ideas, even if you think that they're not good. Just like give yourself time to like them.
Billy Drews is such a good dude.
He's a gem. He's a gem of a human.
So I used to be really about that, like write everything down, record everything, like have some kind of thing. But lately, my mindset has been more like, don't write it down. If it was really compelling, you'll remember it. Like the song that I wrote, Geraldine, for my wife. Wow, so romantic. But anyway, like that, I wrote that melody, and then it was in my head for like 3 days straight. And I was like, okay, cool. This is a good melody because I wrote it once and then I like didn't touch it again, and then I still am hearing it and still remembering it. So I think there's something to be said about that too.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
definitely.
I don't know if that has to do with writer's block, but
Yeah,
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I guess that's like the opposite of writer's block.
Yeah. It's writer's unblock.
Yeah, it's right.
All right, I mean, but
that's
there's
where
also...
that's where you like would want to be, I guess.
Okay, but there's something to be said about allowing, I don't want to say giving up, but there's something to be said about allowing the writer's block to block you and then do something else.
Yeah, like remove yourself from it.
I think removing yourself
Yeah.
and then coming back later at a different time. I don't know about you, but I get really frustrated when I get writer's block. And then when I get frustrated, I think when anyone gets frustrated, the process is kind of gone because then you're like, no,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're just trying to force your way through
you're
it.
like,
And
come
it's
on,
like,
you gotta get this out.
uh-huh.
But yeah, and so sometimes that kind of works if you have the right attitude. But yeah, for me, stepping away has always been good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's frustrating too because you're like, I'm a musician. Like, I'm supposed to be able to do this like
Right.
all the time.
Yeah, and then you start like questioning and self doubt and all
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then yeah, once that kicks in, it's like,
game over.
yeah, it's hard to get out of that because it's like a negative feedback loop.
I don't know about you, but for me, like all the like typical things like taking a walk, taking a
Oh yeah,
shower.
yeah, just like general mindfulness stuff
Yeah.
and like sort of also like being a human
Mm-hmm.
outside of
Yeah.
outside of your creative craft.
Sometimes, like, especially with walks, I don't know, because I'm really like fidgety and I always have to like do something. So when I'm walking and listening to music, I don't really care about walking, but I care about music. So I like hyper focus on it. And then like from just many different perspectives, like from like a harmonic, rhythmic, melodic, and then production perspectives, like how is this panned? Oh, I think this was recorded on a 2-track tape machine.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a really cool like flanging thing. And then that'll start to give me ideas. And then I kind of like just kind of shove them in whatever I'm doing. And that doesn't always work, but it at least shows me one way to use the sound. Yeah, I feel like the walks really help. Or shower. For me, at least, like the shower thoughts is because of the thing that I just said that I have to always be doing something fidgeting. That like when I'm showering, I have these thoughts and I can't execute them. I can't do anything about them, but I'm just kind of forced to process them.
Yeah.
And then I sort of like start developing in my head. But like, there's also like a level of frustration. Like I'm still not clean yet, but these ideas aren't out.
Right.
You know. So then it forces you to kind of keep developing them. And I find that like, and this isn't just music and songwriting, but ideas that I have in the shower stick with me longer because of that. Because I spend more time, like a longer period of time thinking about it. So then I remember it more.
Right, yeah. And it's like it's kind of the only place that you have like true solitude in a way
Yeah.
too. Especially like if you like live with your partner or you live with roommates, it's like that's like kind of the only time. I mean like when you're sleeping, but that's like one of the few times that you have like this like true like
I have a
solitude.
cat jumping on me. I'm not even sleeping.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's important, especially for self introspection
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, removing yourself from it, watch a movie, play with your cat.
And that's on writer's block. Mug time.
Cool.
All right, ready?
Yes.
So this is our section called "What's in Our Mug." We're gonna talk about what we're drinking today.
What are you drinking?
Let's.
Nick?
Okay, let's say it at the same time because I think I know what we're drinking. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Pu'er.
Okay, yeah. So we're both drinking Pu'er tea, but ours is a little different. We got it from the same place, right?
Yes.
What's that place called? It's in Chinatown.
Tenren.
We got our teas from a place called Tenren in Chinatown. Not sponsored, but if they want to sponsor us,
They have a lot of good tea.
they have a lot of good tea, and I think it's like a historic like tea venue.
Yeah, I think they've been there for a while.
Yeah, my Pu'er is just the loose leaves. Still delicious. Pu'er, if you're unfamiliar, it's like a type of black tea. It's really dark and it's like pretty high in caffeine. It's like a little closer to coffee. Oh no, it's one of the closer to coffee teas that are out there. I think
As far as like caffeine.
caffeine and
Level.
like darkness and
Yeah.
taste. I think.
I think
yeah.
body wise too, it's
Body,
like
yeah.
very similar to coffee.
Yeah. I'm drinking mine iced. I like a little brown sugar. Yours is like in a little cake, right?
Yeah, so they're like the little like hand rolled cakes that come
Nice.
like individually wrapped. Yeah, I'm drinking mine with a little bit of oat milk, but
Do you know the benefits of hand wrapping? Like
as opposed to loose leaf.
yeah, because I mean, I love it because it looks sick, especially like the little oolong thing when it's like a little ball and then it blossoms.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
super inspiring.
Maybe I don't know. Like you get like a better bloom out of it because it's like so concentrated.
That makes sense.
But I really don't know what the taste differences are.
As I said before, I gotta get more pretentious about tea.
It's just a little more convenient because like you can bring a bag of those instead of just like carrying around like
Yeah.
loose leaf tea
That makes sense.
because it becomes loose leaf tea once the water hits
right?
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so the leaves look like smaller, especially like after it blooms, as opposed to like if you buy straight up loose leaf pu'er.
Okay.
But yeah, no, that's a good question.
Yeah. We will include the website for this place. All right, so in this section, we wanted to have a Q&A, but since we just started doing this, we don't really have any questions. Drop all your questions in the comments, and we'll probably answer them in a later video.
We'll definitely answer them.
But yeah, that's the episode for today. Click the buttons here or here. They're somewhere on the screen. And do the thing, dislike, subscribe, compliment Sean and I's t-shirts in the comments. But yeah, thank you. What we got?
At the same time. 2, 3.
Wait. Let's do like a 1, 2, and then let's do it on 4 because I don't want the counting to come out.
Oh, yeah.
So 1, 2.